We're rolling. We're here at the Imperial Hotel, post hiding from the Adelaide Crows. Yeah, it's fair to say times have been better in my life. Times have been better in Essendon's life. And yeah, today's just another stark reminder of where the footy club's at. Isn't the case, Ryan?
Yeah, this beer was a lot fuller 2 minutes ago. And it won't be the last one for the evening here at the wonderful Imperial Hotel.
That's right.
But that was a dark moment in my life. It's my first outing since having a new child.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And
the last, probably, yeah.
And I got to admit, I'd rather be covered in shit right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. And Jack, Sash debut after an absolute humiliation. Must be nice.
Yeah, fantastic. Love to come on for the debut. I'd like to say that I'm pumped up, but I'm not. And going for the beer is a fantastic choice.
Yep.
I went to go top shelf and they said, we'll give you like an absolute vodka.
Oh,
at
perfect.
Best. They said, we'll give you base level vodka.
Beautiful.
So I'm just going to have it straight here today.
Great. I think, look, to be fair, I think that's due. And you probably weren't the only person at the MCG who was drinking straight vodka. There may have been Essendon players having some straight vodka throughout that game. Oh, fellas, it's hard to know where to begin, but what a strange day where we kick 100 points, Merritt's unbelievable, Draper kicks 3, Tom Edwards kicks 3 on debut, but we concede 160. So it's a bit grim.
It's striking, isn't it? It's so rare to kick 100 and go, what a great individual performance by at least 4 people.
Yeah.
And walk out going, I think this is one of the worst performances in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've started the season as poorly as we ended last year, which is not traditional. You know, we're supposed to start the year well and then peter off.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a peter off. I think we're off.
Well, I love today's game because when going to the game today, I was worried about we're not going to have an interceptor. We don't have Ridley. We had 6 of them out there today when Ben Mackay was playing 7 to 8 metres behind all day. All day.
Yes.
He wasn't popular in my area of the ground either.
Yeah, I don't think he was popular in most parts of the ground. I said to you boys on the way here, and this is a very reactionary take, but that's what the match reaction's about. It's about reactionary takes that aren't very thought out.
Yeah, it's lucky it wasn't an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily it wasn't an hour ago we did this. There was a bit of time to set things up. We actually got relegated to this corner where the F1 is on. The Imperial Hotel actually said if Essendon won, they would have put us in a nice spot, but we lost. So they said, you can go in the corner. I think the toilet's the next stop after this.
Yeah, urinal too.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to the splashback.
Yeah.
But I think it'll add some really great acoustics next week after the presumably a loss to Port Adelaide.
Urinal 2's generous as well, I think.
Yeah, I'll be down the far end.
Yeah, far end of the queue. What's that smell? It's Essendon. That's what that is. I said to you guys on the way here, if you look at all the team lineups this weekend across the 8 games, I don't think you'll find a worse back 6 than ours this week. And it's pretty hard to stomach. And there's different reasons for every single player. They've all got certain KPIs. Some is just get through the game fit, but others we expect a lot more from. And I can't recall us winning many one-on-ones, at least in the first 3 quarters, or at least the first 2 quarters when the game was on the line. And it was pretty deplorable across the board.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's so true. I mean, the back line, it's hard to find a positive. I mean, Ben Mackay had a very poor $1.4 million game. You've got Reid, who, despite having many years at the club, he's still undersized and he's still slow and he's still trying to find his feet. I'll give him that. But Andy McGrath, he's not giving me anything. Dylan Shield is not working in the position he's in. And not to mention the fact that, quite frankly, they're getting too much service down there. There's just too much going on in the back line. The midfield is just killing them.
Yeah. It's a makeshift back line, though. Like, regardless of not having Ridley in there today, one, he's not going to stop another 26 goals or whatever it was on top of that. No. But the fact of the matter is, you're adding players in like Reid who haven't had that sort of experience and looks a little bit lost. He's lost his confidence, let's be honest.
Totally.
Out there. And then you have a bloke like Pryor as well. I'd like to think that I'm a massive footy nuffy. I didn't know a lot about him when he even come into the club as well. No. Like saying, he's just out of the Brisbane 22. Like it's just hard to stomach.
He looks a long way out of the Brisbane 22, if I'm being honest with you. He struggled, as did all of them. Like, Reid's the one that I go, okay, like, he's played 2 full AFL games in the last 3 years of footy. Like the last full
Yeah.
game he played prior to the Hawthorn game was 2022. So you kind of go, okay, he needs some time. But you look to the other guys to stand up, and it's just not there. I did think Mason Redmond actually had a crack. He was
Great game.
playing undersized against Tex Walker. He had a very hard job. But there wasn't enough there. And, I mean, the writing was on the wall. Like, the bookies had them heavily favoured. I don't think many people tipped us. I stupidly did because I'm a nuffy.
That is hard nuffy.
Like most people watching, we're all nuffies, and we went, oh, we might win. I think we'll have a crack. But
What kills
that
me,
was the reality.
What's killing me as well, don't worry, that was just my misery falling.
That's okay.
What kills me as well is there just didn't seem to be any... half the team felt disinterested today.
Body language was really poor, wasn't it?
There was no manning up, there was no tackling, there was no second efforts. There was only a couple of guys out there, and it's always the same guys putting in the effort. It's the Hobbs, it's the Merritts of the world that are putting in those second efforts and just trying. It's just, there seems to be a huge difference between our best, which is clearly Zach Merritt, and whatever the hell else we've got in that team, because effort was so low today, particularly, as you were saying, Rob, when it mattered, they just weren't there.
And it feels like Zach Merritt is one of the only few players, particularly in that midfield group, who spreads defensively.
Yes.
Because, look, there's one thing that Brad is trying to instill in this team, and I think the Brad Ball ethos is we're going to be hard and tough at the contest. And that's a great starting point. But once you've had that first effort, you've got to bust your gut to get on the outside. And how often do you see any of those other midfielders busting the outside? Sam Durham a little bit, Caldwell a little bit. The rest of the guys who run through there don't do it at all. Merritt's the only one who spreads defensively. When we've got the ball, oh man, everyone's running hard then.
It's almost like beast to a honeypot when you're watching it. Like the amount of times we were out and we looked clear and we handballed back into traffic. And it was like, okay, another handball back into traffic, turnover, goes up the other end, slingshot goal. Yeah. And to put it lightly, the only reason we did kick 100 points is because Adelaide just took the foot off the gas at the end of the game. Like you could just tell, even when they kicked the goals, like, we don't even deserve these, to be honest.
Can someone explain to me what our game plan is? I know I said this to you on the way over here, Rob, and I'm trying my best to understand what it is. But if there is a game plan, that team looks confused because they don't seem to know what it is.
Well, there's two different methods, not to get too technical considering how shit we were. There's chaos and then there's control.
Yes.
And all we had was chaos with no control.
Yeah. Fear.
Like
Fear
we tried
a huge component.
We tried to chip it against Hawthorn in stages and try and build the play up, but we're just not skillful enough to do that.
Yeah.
We don't have the halfback flankers to be able to turn and run and gun and then hit up a full forward who's a 1-on-3 with Nate Caddy all day.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I think the reality of it is that, you know, for people out there who are watching this and for years have gone, oh, we need to gut the joint, we need to go to a full deep rebuild. This is kind of what it looks like. Because without dropping a few more guys, there was 4 guys out there today who'd played 100 games. I think there was 6 or 7 who were under the 15-game mark, which is crazy. So we are raw and inexperienced as it comes, but unfortunately, we are deep in the rebuild. We're deep in those weeds. It's going to be dark and it's going to be really bad. And I think, like, the reality setting in on me going pre-season, I don't think we'll be much worse than last year. I'm looking at going now and go, I think this could get real grim. I think this could be a bottom 4 year.
I think the club did try to prepare us for this, and I think they've been preparing us for 2. If I can get the word prepared right.
You're turning it over just like Essendon.
I'm having a dark moment, but I think for 2 years they've been preparing us for essentially what I think we saw today, which is every time they said, oh, do you think Essendon's getting better and better? And they kept saying, we're developing, we're preparing, we're building. They never said rebuild because obviously that's not good for selling memberships. No. But as you said, Rob, I think today was the day where they have to at least come out and go, yeah, we're not playing finals, we're not close, and we're probably at least a couple more years off from at least getting close to trying to win a final.
Yeah.
The scary part about it is, even if we are rebuilding, the bracket of players of the high draft picks we've got don't look much chop, to be honest.
And it's a bad year for having good draft picks this year too.
Like, is it development? Is it the players just simply aren't good enough? There's so many questions that you come out of today. You don't look at it and you go, oh, well, Merritt's going to be around in our next flag. Like, we can't even think about flag like now. No. It's bottom 4.
And you would say
it just looks bottom 4.
It's a long way off. And look, off the back of last week's result, the question through all these discussions was people going, well, you blame the recruitment over the journey. And there's merit in that as well, but it's bits and pieces of everything. And I think that at times, supporters, we do need to check ourselves a little bit because coming into this game, bit of blind hope. I was like, who knows what could happen? But our forward line consisted of a ruckman, a first gamer, and a guy I think who's played 9 or 10 games in Nate Caddy.
And the first gamer was probably the best.
And the first game was probably the best. Like, what did we really think was going to happen? Like, against a side who had gone out and pumped St Kilda the week before.
Yeah.
Like, did we really think we were going to do it?
I got to admit, the optimist in me just thought St Kilda was really shit.
Same.
You know,
Same.
I just hoped that they were
I was
terrible.
hoping. Turns out it's us.
I was optimistic that they were terrible, but I think Adelaide might be okay this year, but quite frankly, they've played against 2 really average sides. But look, it's one of those things like Tom Edwards, you know, that was a really average game. He kicked 3. You know, Draper...
He looks good.
Draper snapped 3 goals, 1 from 2 metres out. The whole crowd groaned, but he kicked 3 goals straight. But it's like we never once was there an entry in there that did our forwards a favour.
Yeah. Can we just talk about the groan?
The
stadium,
Draper.
the stadium groan, like, he gets that first mark, and it's like, start of the game, everyone's excited, and he turns side on, and the collective, no, amongst the stadium.
Even when he kicked it, it was like, yeah, right.
It's Joe Danaher-esque when he used to do it.
But, hey, let's give the man some credit. He did it 3 times, and he kicked 3 straight. So, if that works,
One from
do
nearly-
it.
one-
Do it every week. I don't care.
And one was from nearly 50 out. And I
Yeah.
get a woman behind me said, he's not going to make it. And I thought, she's probably
That
right. And he
groan
kicked it.
is just 45,000 people releasing trauma.
Yeah.
That is all that is.
That is Essendon trauma.
You just hear like the echo around it.
Like, how bad's your confidence? You're in the goal square and you still don't think you can kick it straight.
Yeah, and like it's like I think there's not many clubs in the league who would have a stadium groan 5 minutes into the start of the game. Like, if you know, groaning in that last quarter when you're down by 10 goals, very normal. But I think there's only a couple of clubs like us who would behave like that. And you know what, Essendon fans, I love it. Good on it. Good on you. Good on you all.
I love a Bronx cheer for Mackay when he took 1 mark.
Yeah.
That was very exciting
There's
too.
a lot of Bronx cheers.
And I won't stand for the people saying, well, we kicked 100 points. Every team gets a mulligan. We're watching Port Adelaide right now have a rebound game. They played against Collingwood the other week, and you're like, it's a one-off game. You know, they're going to turn it over. It was the way that they played. Our issue is just not the way we played. It's our entire list. When you look at the list overall.
Can I ask you, gents, a very reactionary question?
I love it.
Where does Essendon's next win come from? Because we're watching this Port Adelaide game right now. They're 10 goals up. Doesn't look like it's that. I don't think we've beaten them at Marvel in a decade.
No, they flog us.
Then it's a bye. Melbourne at Gather Round.
Nah.
Like, they've played 1 game, but they looked okay against the Giants. I'm not sure who's after that. I think it's Collingwood. Like,
Dude, Dreamtime's looking bad.
it's hard to see where they're coming from.
It's the more this pod goes on and the more I think about the game, it's literally screaming bottom 4.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you might have your Richmonds and your West Coast who look real shit, let's be honest, and probably a St Kilda.
And us.
But other than that,
But
other than
that's
that,
4 teams, yeah.
That's it.
It was funny. I put us, the last pod I was on, I put us at 13th. And people laughed when Mert said 16. I think he was spot on. I think he was right.
I said to you, Rob.
said 9th. Oh.
I said to you, Rob, it's going to be a slingshot year. It's going to be a catapult even further down before it's a slingshot year, I think.
I'm going to do the rest of the pod from here. So I think that sums up where we're at.
Look,
Just
I gotta
me,
admit-
me down here like this.
I think at the start of the year, I pretty much said I reckon it was 7 to 9 wins. I could have thought optimistically 7 to 9. I'm thinking 3 to 5 is looking good. That feels like a good year now, considering that loss. I think it also hurts because last week we didn't look that bad. We had 1 bad quarter against Hawthorn, and I could have accepted the sins of 1 bad quarter. They're the reason why we lost. And mathematically it all makes sense. This week,
This was a belting.
everything went wrong.
Yep.
And nothing looked good, really. The last quarter cleansed a couple of things, add a little bit of stats to a couple of guys, except for Merritt, really. That team is shit.
Can we talk about Tom Edwards? Can we talk about Tom Edwards?
Yeah, Tom, I'm sure.
The Crichton medalist.
He has a crack. He has a genuine crack.
Yeah.
He's pretty lean for a guy. So obviously, he hasn't been in the system and done all the muscle work that you would do being an AFL is. But man, he had a red hot crack. And you know what? If this is the diamond in the rough that we get out of however many games in a row we're about to lose, then
Like, he should have
I'll
kicked
take
4. He got the holding the ball out of the square that Merritt went and kicked the goal.
Yeah.
He went for another mark
Could
where
have
it nearly
4.
landed on his head, and he got back up straight away. And you go, you're right. He had an absolute crack.
I put a bet on for him to kick 3 goals and Essendon to win, so I was only 60 points off.
You
So
absolute serial killer. That is insane.
I was like, well, I got to bring in like, hey, you have a bonus bet, and I was like, oh, why not?
It's giving Nick Martin vibes from a few years ago against Geelong.
Against Geelong, I literally said that during it. But the thing, it's great. I love seeing guys like Hobbs and Edwards just having a crack. Even when things are hard, they're putting in those second efforts. That's great. The worst part is I'm looking at a lot of what you would consider blue chip draft picks in that team. They're not doing that.
No.
As much as I want Sardis to be a really good player, but I think he's silky, but he lacks A, the kicking, and B, any grunt to do that. And I think Martin is really great, but I think he lacks grunts. And I think if you said one of the biggest problems with Essendon is we don't have any real mean bastards at the moment.
No.
You've got Caldwell, you've got Hobbs, and it kind of Durham, and then after that it gets really lean. I miss a team that would make an opposition walk off the ground feeling like they played a game of football, feeling like they were tackled. I feel like Adelaide's going to walk off today and feel like a lot of jumpers don't need to be washed because they weren't touched.
They haven't washed their jumpers.
You can see it the way that we play. We have to, I know we still scored 100 points, but we have to manufacture goals so hard just to try and work for them, and then it just slingshots out the other end. Like, from our wings as well.
Yeah.
Our wings, we just get cut up every single week.
Can we talk about the marks as well? What was it, 128 marks to 59?
I think at one point they had like 14 or 15 uncontested marks inside 50 to our like 3 or 4.
That's insane.
And then and it's funny, I had these guys sitting behind me who were constantly berating the back line. And look, don't get me wrong, the back line had a very bad
It's also the
bad
midfield.
night. But they were getting silver service, spoon-fed, just, here's a little 15, 20-metre dink, run onto it. Like, I'm under no pressure. This is so easy. It's a training drill. And, that's a midfield problem. You said to me on the way here, and, it's kind of been sitting in the back of my head since we've been sitting here at the Imperial. We've talked about the backline deficiencies. We've talked about the forward line deficiencies. But this has been an Essendon problem for a long time, is that our midfielders don't always run two ways. Yeah. And this was another example of that, where there's a lot of guys in there who have lots of talent with the ball, but there's 2 or 3 of them who are willing to run back, and even some of those 2 or 3 don't always commit.
It's pretty scary when your 2 biggest problems are moving the ball and defending. It's pretty bleak, isn't it?
So what are we good at? So we can't kick, we can't handball, we can't mark, can't chase, can't tackle.
We've got good first gamers though.
Great first gamers. Well, I mean, let's just debut the rest of the list next week and we might win.
Tell me about, but the thing that kills me about that midfield is that we talk about silver service that Adelaide got. The amount of times our guys in the midfield got the ball out, and we won clearances across the game, which is disgusting to think about. But they were bombs.
It's such a fake stat, though.
And it's just it's blind. Put your head down and kick and hope for the best. It's time and time again. We're just not learning.
But you watch footy that's not just Essendon games, and we do it on this show where we go, oh look, we won the clearances, or this is so important, and sometimes they are, but first possession does not matter if you do not spread well and you don't execute. And this team does not execute basic skills well, and they don't spread well. You watch other teams, Hawthorn did it to us, Adelaide did it today, where they go, when you realise we've got the ball and they just go bang everywhere, like a Jackson Pollock painting, it's just fucking everywhere. And then you're like, wow, how did Rochelle get it uncontested? Oh, Rankin's uncontested. Where are all the Essendon players? Oh, they're fucking over there.
Well, then that brings it back to saying that was brought up earlier. Is this a recruiting flaw or is this a coaching flaw? Because I'm of the belief we aren't recruiting duds. We are making them duds.
It's a prime example today. You look at our small forwards. If I see another handball over the top of a defender for another bloke to have to run onto, I tell you that much from seeing that. But then you look at their small forwards. Ben Keys kicks 4. Rochelle kicks 3 goals 4 or something ridiculous.
Ben Keys must love Essendon. He must love us.
Oh.
And no one being defensive side of a stoppage as well is killing me too.
Can I just praise an Adelaide Crow play real quick?
Oh, please don't.
Rankin's goal, full tilt on the run on the wing, was right in front of me with McGrath chasing him. I just got to say, that was mint. That was a sick goal.
And Rochelle's one just before that too. Yeah. That was a real sink the boots in moment.
But he kicked it and I was like, I'm really angry, but wow, that was really good.
I think
it was McLeod-esque and I was like, oof.
The thing that helped with that, the angeriness was gone just before halftime.
Yeah.
Like, my wife Renee was with me as well, and she was just like, she could see the steam coming in my ears when we're walking down the stairs. And by the time we got back from halftime, I was like, it's done now.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about getting pumped is that by like quarter time you're furious, halftime you're really like you're at tipping point, and then it starts to go down a bit, then a bit more anger, and then by the end of the game you're just like, oh, I'm sad.
Look, what's killing me is
I think you all should all resume this position with me. And I think this is how we should just look at the roof and contemplate what's going on with this team.
I'm a lot older than you guys, so this hurts.
All I can say is Thilthorpe taking another mark again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something right now.
What do the stars tell you, fellas?
What's killing me though is, and it's just, I'm tired of being sort of almost apathetic to our losses. Like, you're right what you're saying, that, you know, you kind of anger passes by and you're left with just this empty, hollow feeling. And I'm like, that's not how I want to live my life.
All I can think is the only positive for you, Rob, for the Sash is you can copy and paste this for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Like, I don't have to learn how to be like positive because just
it's ingrained.
It just does it every week. Fellas, this has been fun. This has been fun doing this reaction, despite how terrible today was.
Can you give me another beer?
Look, I think we'll go have another one of these off air before I get an Uber home. But thank you for joining me, Jack. Great debut.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Great debut. We'll definitely have to get you back on.
Tom Edwards
Ryan.
type debut.
Yeah, this was a Tom Edwards type debut.
Genuinely, that's at least 3 goals won.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, and that makes you Ben McKay. That's okay. But Ryan, thank you for joining me. People, thank you for watching on our YouTube channel. We do appreciate it very much. Like and subscribe. Thank you to the Imperial Hotel for having us here today. Who knows if we'll do this again? Who knows if we'll get shafted in front of the F1? Hope the race is going well. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.